Animation has always been a fascinating topic for me. The main reason why I always loved animation is because it helps us in imagining various things. Having more than 120,000 Instagram followers, this animator has won many hearts globally. I won't say much about this podcast because I want you all to witness the excitement in the podcast itself. So let's invite Rodgon the artist on Podcast with Kunal. Before starting this podcast, I would like to request you all to please follow us on Spotify, as we bring many amazing audio podcasts which are filled with immense knowledge and immense entertainment. Rodgon the artist on Podcast with Kunal in this animation special podcast. The artist, the animator, the detector, the Sherlock Holmes of animation community. Welcome to the podcast with Kunal. Welcome to an Indian podcast. I'm sure this is your first Indian podcast. I don't know, you might have gone to many podcasts before.
Podcast.
This is your first podcast?
Glad to be here. Thank you very much for having me.
Is this your first podcast?
No, it's not my first podcast, but it's my first Indian podcast.
Yes. I'm gonna create a hell lot of clips out of this. Yes, my editor already knows this. So I'm asking you, what all have you been thinking about, like things about life, like something apart from the things that you already do?
Ooh. So something that I've been actually thinking about lately a lot is someone approached me at a bar when I was up here in Scotland. I'm visiting here just almost like a spiritual retreat for myself, honestly.
Nice.
And I have been talking to a lot of people. And this one particular lady told me, what is the meaning of living? I like the way that she phrased it, because most people were like, oh, what's the meaning of life? And that's a very general term that like anybody can just like make up their own shit. But what is the meaning of living was very interesting to me, and then I started thinking what that portrays to me. I think that at one point I'm a very proficient, quick, and luckily very, very good with explaining things. So I found a lot of love in teaching other people how to succeed in things, inspire them and talk to them, and tell them how to move forth from where they were like struggling and stuff. And I do this with art. I do this every day with people, like streaming, drawing alongside them, giving them a person to draw with and stuff like that. So I figured that the easiest explanation to that question was the meaning of living is to find something that you enjoy doing, but not just enjoy doing, that you don't mind doing for a very long time, and something that you're good at. And if you find that combination of things, and you're able to just demonstrate to other people in the world how much you love it, that alone provides other people for a meaning of their life. And therefore it just keeps on going and going and going. As long as you allow yourself to leave that legacy to be a positive thing, it's always going to be a good thing, regardless of whatever you choose to do. So that's something that was fascinating to me. What about you? What's your opinion on that?
Yeah, see, if someone asked me like all of a sudden, randomly, like, what do you mean by living, or what is the meaning of living, or something like that, so I would say that I would actually, rephrase it in such a way that it would explain what I'm thinking, and it would explain the way of life, or it would explain my perspective on living, or my perspective of life. Like, to be honest, if you ask me what do you mean by living, or what do I exactly mean by living, or what is living for me, so I would say that getting to do what you always want to do and enjoying it, not coming under anyone's pressure or something like that. And moreover, for me, living has always been this, man, meeting new people, getting to know their stories, getting to know their hard work, their opinions, their feedbacks, their perspective, their point of views and everything. Like podcast has always been a great source for me to connect with people like all around the world. My objective was this only, to connect with people, and to be honest, now touch wood, I feel my objective has been successful. Like I was actually waiting, like when could I get someone who is knowledgeable, who is having experience on about the content he is making, and moreover is not from India. It's not like any issues or that, but I was like, my motive was to connect with people outside India, not just to stay in India. Making podcasts in English doesn't make help help you connect with people outside the world. It's just the language is changing, not the person.
Right.
Yeah. So that is what is living for me.
That is amazing, man. That's a great way of explaining it too.
Yeah, I know, man. So I mean, how long have you been in Scotland? I mean, when did you
So
came?
in Scotland lately, I made a move here about, it's been about 2.5 months. So 2.5 months of experiencing another culture, experiencing being around people that love me, and, you know, like just making new friends everywhere that I've been going. I'm lucky enough that I have a large social network in which I can just say that I'm in a place in the planet, and people will be more than happy to show me around, take me out, be my host. And thanks to that, it's been wonderful to just actually experience so many different cultures. And Scotland has been my favorite by far.
Scotland has always been my favorite too. I mean, I've been to Edinburgh Castle. The things I saw, the way they were kept, they were those monuments, those swords, the backpacks of the soldiers. I don't know if I'm sure you have been to Edinburgh Castle. I'm pretty sure about it.
I haven't yet.
Go there, dude. What the hell are you doing?
I plan on going there before I leave.
Yeah, please go, dude. I mean, the last time when I went there, I was like shocked. I still remember, I did around 20 push-ups with the backpack on, just to test my own strength and everything. And believe me, it was very hard because the backpack was very heavy. And hats off to the Scottish Army. I mean, how I really wonder how do they carry on their day-to-day activities and everything, or the way they prevent their own country. I mean, it's very difficult. Plus, another thing is, everything was preserved, everything was kept in a very neat and tidy manner. There was no scratches or everything. The entire castle was preserved. I mean, that's what I always loved about Scotland. I mean, if anyone asked me like, where do you want to go or where do you want to settle in abroad, I would always say that Scotland, man. There is no place either. There is no place better or pleasant than Scotland. It's Scotland, or is it nothing?
Absolutely. Yeah, I plan on eventually making it a permanent thing, but for now, it's been a wonderful adventure, and you know, it's something that I'm gonna cherish for the rest of my life.
I mean, I just wanna know one thing, man. Like, when did you start exactly your illustration and animation career, your journey? How did it start exactly?
So my career started back in I was like 19 or 18, and I just ventured into a school that was, you know, there. I didn't know what the building was. I just ventured into it because it looked colorful, and I believe I saw a vending machine inside. Went in there, saw all the drawings from all the cartoons that I'd seen in my childhood, and I was like, oh, what is this place? And it was a school. And I was about to graduate college, not high school, and I didn't know what to do with my life, right? So I saw that. I used to like to doodle a little bit, but I didn't know that you could actually do that for a career. And without really having the understanding that is going to be the financial, what I need to make money with.
Yeah, like it happens in every freaking field, man. I mean, not only
very
animation.
Impulsively, I signed up for the first semester.
Ooh.
And I was like, let's just do this. Why not? When I started, I remember being at the bottom of the totem pole of everybody that was in the school. Like, everybody had been drawing for 18 years or since they were inside of their mama still when they were pregnant. You know, they've been drawing forever. They've had this dream forever. And having been a person that just impulsively went into it, I was like, oh my God, what did I do? The first year of college was the hardest for me because I did not have the visual, I did not have the ability to visualize what people were telling me was there. So if they told me to draw a sphere, I did not see a sphere. I saw circles, and I just saw circles, and I couldn't understand the concept of perspective. I couldn't understand the concept of shadows. I'm colorblind to a certain extent, so it was that first year was horrifying. There's one teacher that just took me aside one day and was like, "You're terrible at this. Do you really want to actually go through with this?" And I was like, "Yes, I know I can do this. I just can't draw. I don't know. I can't keep up with the other people because I just don't see it." And then he forced me. Well, he didn't force me. He challenged me. He challenged me to draw a 200-page sketchbook. They used to sell them like this thick. He's like, "Draw this in 2 weeks."
Oh my God.
I'm like, there's no way I can do that. I haven't even filled up one sketchbook and I've been here a year. I did it. And I spent, I had to draw 20 something pages a day or something like that.
Oh shit, man.
But I did it. And you just end up, you don't know what you're supposed to draw after the third page, especially if you don't have a mental library. If you don't have that amount of drawings you've done over your life that are already in there, it's really hard to draw from memory. So you just start drawing everything around you at the best of your abilities as fast as you can, because you just want to get those pages done so you can have a life. Well, I finished this. I went in, I gave him the sketchbook, and he just took it, threw it in the trash.
What? Why?
Gave me another one. You have 2 weeks.
Ooh.
I was furious. I was like, what the hell just happened here? I was so proud. I was gonna get critiqued, and he's like, nah.
That was savage.
This happened for 2 months. So I did about 8 sketchbooks. He did the same thing with most of them. Just and I was like, oh my God, I'm going to kill you. And then the last one, I was going to give it to him. And I was like,
oh my God,
just don't throw it away. This one actually has some cool drawings in it. And then he just looks at me and he's like, there you go. And then it clicked. And I was like, I was finally proud of my art, enough for him to not throw it away. And then he's like, you are okay now. Now you're happy with what you can do. Now just grow from there. Changed my life, man. To this day, I try to teach, whenever anybody goes in and tries to apprentice under me, because I offer membership, apprenticeships to people, if they can prove that they are willing to do it. And I know it's doable because I did it. And that literally took me from not being able to draw to being able to competently draw, which gave me enough confidence to be, and I kept doing that for a year or something like that. Just drawing as much as I could. I made it my job so I could draw more, and it just becomes a habit, right? If it's something that you really want to pursue, if you put the work in, it's no guarantee that it's going to happen for you, but you are giving yourself the highest statistical probabilities to be able to make it, even if you're not a talented person. And so far, it's the same approach has gotten me to worldwide notoriety. I compete with artists at a global level.
Wow.
And yeah, I've been a member of the UK Illustration Championships, and that are worldwide competitions with speed art and stuff like that. I've gotten, picked up by Wacom for a couple of again, international battles with other artists, top animators in the world. I'm not an animator per se. I'm more of an illustrator, but I'm competing with that level of talent at this point from not being able to draw absolutely anything.
That's like proud of you, bro.
Yeah, I'm pretty proud of myself too.
That
I
was
gotta
crazy,
remind myself
man.
once in a while, but I'm pretty proud of what I've achieved
One thing I
from
wanna ask you,
literally
like,
just walking into a school and not knowing anything.
it's a kind of an hilarious question. Like, do you also throw books in the trash while teaching people?
Do I what?
Do you also throw books in the trash while teaching people?
No, no. I'm much more tactile than that. Like I try to make sure that they first can take the criticism. I'm a stubborn bastard. Okay, like them doing that just fueled rage in me to be like. It inspired me, but a lot of people don't have that. So they have you can't teach everybody the same way, right? If you try to teach a fish how to climb a tree, it's gonna think it's dumb its entire life.
Yeah, exactly.
But you just can't. You have to sometimes change what I learned, adapt it to the next person, but you need to gauge how they learn, how they take criticism and stuff like that first. As a good teacher, you need to take the time to actually understand the people you're teaching, because the big thing is that not everybody learns the same way. Not everybody sees what everybody else sees. I didn't see anything that the teachers would explain to me, and that's all the information that's always regurgitated in every single art class. That's why I want to create my own content, my own books, so I can pitch those to colleges, so that I can actually have people view things in a little bit different way than just someone trying to make money by just regurgitating information. Right?
So, like, how difficult it is to become an animator if you don't know drawing and everything? Because I don't know drawing, so I really don't know.
Okay, so animation is one of the hardest things to get into, right? First of all, you got to be able to draw. Second of all, you need to learn how to draw well. Third, you need to learn how to move those objects in space. So you have to have a visualization of 3D elements that surpasses a lot of sculptors. Because you need to then learn how to manipulate that so it looks like it's moving. And then you need to understand how many drawings it takes normally for an animation to happen. So, back in the day when I studied, and I'm an old fart, but it was 24 frames per second of animation. And that's normally 24 frames per character or per object moving in the scene, because you don't just animate everything at the same time. It's a daunting task to do hand animation. And it takes not just that, you need to know about timing, you need to know about how to make sure to lip sync things to a script. And you need to learn how the mannerisms of the characters, their facial expressions.
Sometimes I'm sure it might sometimes it would be getting frustrating and everything, right? You might be getting frustrated.
Yeah, I can imagine. But they're some of the most hardworking artists in the industry. I'm telling you that.
Yeah, I know,
anybody that takes that up as a profession is king or queen or whatever.
So how different is animation from illustration? What is the difference between them?
See, the big difference between animation and illustration is that if you take an individual frame of animation, it's not necessarily going to tell you what's going on in the scene or tell you a story. If you're trying to go for an illustration, it's something that's going to convey an emotion, can tell a story, or say something from the person's perspective through their art. But they don't have the ability to show it in multiple progressive shots. They have to be able to capture all that emotion in raw, in that one piece. So, for example, a good compromise between that is something like old comic strips, right? Or even comic books, where you tell a story. It's not necessarily sequential, as in you're flipping through it to see them moving, but you still have to have that ability to be able to tell what's going on in each frame. I say borderline, it's kind of like a mix-up, because then you have people like MC Escher and Dali. Those would be what I would consider the toppest level of illustration. it's, and then I guess some people would say that it's not illustration, that it's painting, but I consider painting and rendering in that sort of way the same as I would a really high detailed drawing or anything like that. So yeah.
Amazing, man. Like, there is so much to talk about animation. Like, the more you talk, the less it would be.
Yeah, I mean, and then the industry changes all the time, right? Like, there was a huge shift between 2D animation to 3D animation, and most of the people that had this transition were the animators from the 2D animation field if they wanted to keep a job. So you have to evolve as an artist. Like, the one thing that always baffles me is when people think that they should stay to one style because that's their style, and that's honest, like that's like the thing that they want to do the rest of their life. That confuses me, because we are not limited to a style or a single way of creating. We are creative people. I can put a piece of paper in front of you, you'll create a cool paper airplane if I tell you the prompt to do something. You'll make a dinosaur if I tell you to make a dinosaur. People just have that ability to create things, and it's so understated, and people put themselves in such a tiny niche just to stand out instead of seeing how much they're capable of if they just stop being concentrated on that little tiny percentage of the art world that they believe that they excel at, while avoiding everything else in which they could excel at too. Who knows, even more so sometimes.
I want to talk about the novel thing, man. I mean, like, I just want to know the entire story behind it. Like, you wrote a book, you designed it, like you illustrated it and everything.
Yes, I'm in the current process of finishing a book called Me and Mr Dep.
Yeah.
So it's a book about this, like, it's gonna be mostly stories, not necessarily based on me, but my personal experience with them.
Okay.
And for me, having people in my life that have suffered from that, and seeing them progress and learn how to like deal with things. And it's going to be just a small guideline, and I'm gonna try to make it as intuitively inspiring as instead of making it detrimental for the people reading it. So always making sure that they understand that even though you do suffer from depression, just it's going to be manageable. Don't like saying the word okay, because that's very different wording for very different people, but it's going to be manageable for you to be able to have the life you want. And people really understand visual cues, and I'm very good at portraying emotion with colors, with just simple ways of illustrating. And it's something that I want to do so I can hopefully help even one person out. Honestly, that's my goal. Like, if I help one person with not having to feel the way I have before in the past, that's worth it to me. And I publish my own books, so it's slowly building my little gallery of things that I can do to help other people out.
Well, that's completely amazing to know, because I've seen many animators who are just stuck on the circle of animations or illustrating or designing. They are not trying something new. So, I mean, nowadays in India, animators are more into creating content and getting the subscribers, getting the views. If they don't get the views, they feel that the community is going down. They are having this mindset.
See, the thing is, there is going to be a time and a place in your career if you do decide to do this for a long time. It took me a while to do that, but where you're going to have to realize that if you don't do the artwork for yourself, if everything you're doing is just to please an audience, you're never going to get that validation, because you're always going to seek a higher validation. But if you manage to learn to create things that you do, that you like, not for the internet, not for the likes, if you learn to be that and be consistent, people will, again, like I was telling you, the meaning of your life, right? Like, do what you love
Got it, yeah.
and share that with the world so you might inspire other people. Do that. That's honestly, I think that's the reason that a lot of people are attracted to what I do. Because I don't post the most magically detailed art. And I honestly just draw for myself. And then I just share that with everybody. So I'm proud of my work because I'm doing it for me. Other people seem to enjoy seeing the journey and learning while I do it because I'm constantly correcting myself. I'm constantly telling myself, this is wrong. And then giving people guidelines as to how to see what I saw. And then just hopefully inspire some people, man. Like if I can make a living, even if it's just the bare minimal living, but I'm able to do this for a living, I'm perfectly happy. Like, I'm not looking to be the next Walt Disney. I'm looking to inspire the next 50, the next 60 Walt Disneys so that they can actually do what they want.
I mean, a lot of people who are into animation, they are like Walt Disney, Pixar. They have played a huge role in inspiring millions of people. Like, I'm sure it must have inspired you as well in creating, like, or becoming an animator.
No, actually, no. Like,
Ooh.
I didn't really have that inspiration to go and be an animator because of that. I wanted to become an animator because I wanted to journal my own life. Like, I went into it, I was more inspired by people like Bill Watterson, the creator of Calvin and Hobbes, or the comic book Zits, or all those, like, were much more appealing and inspiring to me than it was Sliver from an animation or a movie from Disney. Like, I've never really had this appeal of working for a large company like that. Like, I've had the ability to have pursued it a couple times to see if I could actually get in the door. I just never really was able to pull I just couldn't follow through because I did not want to be such a tiny cog, putting all my creative effort, being such a tiny cog in such a large machine that I will never really be able to be like, that was my piece of artwork. And the whole reason I got into artwork was not for that. And I had to go back and rethink why I became an artist. Why did I even start going to art school? And try to pursue that as thoroughly as I could before I decided that I was just going to pursue what everybody else wants just because I can. No, I don't have anybody to prove anything to other than myself, right? So if I get a job at Disney, yeah, that'd be cool and that's somebody else's dream, but that's not what I want to do in life. So as I get older, I'm just validating that much more against what I can do now that I have all the experience in the world, and what can I do for myself with all the skills that I accumulated working for other motherfuckers for like 40 years. So if you are working for somebody, see it as an experience, see it as something that you're going to take from and learn how to use the skills that you're learning for yourself. If you're there for 3 years, you have 3 years of actually learning how to use all that stuff to use for yourself once you leave the place, or if they let you off or they lay you out or whatever, because companies dispose of artists like crazy sometimes. So learn to be valuable outside of a company setting too.
Many animators try to make content like relatable content, like someone can relate to it, or content based on your day-to-day life, like content based on the people around you, content based on the activities around you. Like, how difficult it is for you guys to judge such activities and create content out of it?
It depends on how heavily you're going to be going into content creation that's going to actually be content creation and not just videos of yourself doing things, right? Like, I try to keep my editing and all that really low by just posting interesting things about where I went to eat, draw something there, instant image for social media, right? It appeals to all artists and appeals to anybody that's actually wanting to travel. Cool. I can take a little video, whatever I feel like doing within like 5 minutes in a restaurant. I don't normally spend any more time than I need to, and it's not something that I'm actively like craving to do. So it's also like people that force it too much, like people can tell when you're forcing a certain thing.
Yeah.
Like the thing, it's kind of like with dating, right? If you like have like a person and they're very desperate, you can tell, and you're like, you know, it's just not. Yeah, like it
happens.
That, but you're not just dating one person; you're dating the entire world. Because you're throwing yourself out there, kind of like you're like, hey, look at me, look at me, look at me. And then like if you're constantly posting things that people aren't engaging with, and you don't change that and you don't adjust, because as animators that try to do content on TikTok or any other like platform, it's you're your own marketer. Now you're your own advertising crew. Now you're your own like marketing team. Like financials, all that stuff goes through you unless you give control of that to someone else. And that's terrifying. But yeah, like you have to take on so many roles. Like you can't just be an animator. Like if you want to be just an animator, go work for a company. If you want to be an animator on your own, you're gonna be like so many other things as well. And you better learn quick if you don't really like that.
Right, that's what I really admire about animators. Like they play so many roles, they design so many characters, they give lives to so many non-living things, and like they do not have one identity, they have thousands of other identities. Like people know them throughout their characters that they design, throughout their work that they showcase or they do. Right, that's what I really admire about animators, man, and that's freaking crazy, man.
Yeah, it's a wonderful profession if you like enjoy doing that sort of stuff. It's one of the most fulfilling, but it's a very challenging one too.
Yeah, I agree,
right?
man.
So,
I agree.
Like people just need to do their research before they go into whatever career they want to go into. You really, even if you're young, even if you're just getting out of high school, make your research on how that actual field is going to both treat the people in it, what the communities are like, if you're going to be compatible with that sort of stuff long term, and seeing if you're like where you live or where you're actually able to work from is going to be able to provide you those opportunities. And that's all stuff that they don't teach you in school, because they're trying to normally get you in to milk you for as much money as they can, especially at art schools. So just anyone watching and is going to school, just do your research.
Now I want to shift to some personal stuff. I mean,
cool.
I just want to ask you, like, how did you meet your girl? I mean, how long you have been together, and how supportive she has been in your animation journey, man?
So, I met the beautiful Vicky Mayhem. That's her name. Her name is Mayhem. We met a long time ago. We met about like 6 years ago, and we were just friends on Instagram.
Oh.
We flirted back and forth. We liked each other, but nothing ever came of that then. It was up until last year almost that we decided that we should meet up and actually see where it went, spend some time together and just enjoy ourselves. And I spent the most magical week with her. And like honestly, spending time with her made me realize not just like how neglected I had been in my every previous relationship, but how the love of someone that actually cares about you feels.
Right.
And that just made me fall in love with her. Then we arranged a couple like visits back and forth. So I went to visit her a couple times. She came to visit me. We spent Christmas together. And it's just been a wonderful experience of being able to actually like see her when she's able to see me. and be able to show ourselves as much love as we possibly can when we do get a chance to see each other. So I'm moving back to the States on the 28th, hopefully, and spending the best week that I can with her until I leave, and then we'll take it from there. We both love each other very, very much, and we just have a lot of things going for each other. And she's incredibly supportive. I have never met someone that has been more have my back as much as she has. So I'm an incredibly lucky man.
Well, yeah, God bless you both, man. It's really wonderful to see two people working together. Right now, to be honest, it's not you who is illustrating, it's not you who is animating. It's you both who are doing the same things.
Well, she's a piercer, and she is a tattoo artist apprentice. So she's not an animator.
So that tattoo was created by her?
Huh?
That tattoo on your right chest was created by her?
No, this one is an old tattoo. She has yet to tattoo me yet. They are opening up a wonderful tattoo shop in their town of Bigger. Her and her friend Kit are opening up a tattoo shop there.
That's
so
crazy,
if anybody's in
amazing.
Scotland and wants to get a tattoo, Colorful Pricks, that's the name of it.
Yeah, guys, who's ever in Scotland or wherever the shop is located, please go and check it out, man. It's wonderful.
Look up
it's
Colorful
amazing.
Pricks on Instagram. You won't be disappointed.
Nice, man, nice. So, bro, how difficult was you for managing everything, the relationship, the things that you were doing? How difficult was it for you initially? Now that you already know.
Well, no, the thing is, the beauty of having met her is that it just gets easier the more that I spend time with her and I actually know the kind of person she is. When you have the right amount of support, the right kind of support that you need, it makes a world of difference. And it's not always just the person doing things for you or catering to you, or not necessarily telling you oh, you need to do this, you need to do that to succeed. It's just somebody that actually feels like they genuinely love you and they just want to see you do better. So when they can't support you emotionally or in any other way, they just do it instead of having to be asked to. And it's something like that I found in Vicky, and it's made the world of difference ever since I met her. So I did not mind moving across the planet a couple times just to even spend some time with her.
Amazing, man. Rodgon, it's an honor that you came on my podcast. Seriously, I've been looking forward to talk to an animator, getting to know their story, the journey behind being an animator, how difficult it is. But to be honest, it was a very difficult journey to bring an animator on the show. At one time I had actually given up. I was like, do hell with those animators, man. They don't come on my podcast. But then
they don't
after
talking to people.
Yeah, man.
We're introverts. You just kind of a weird one that actually enjoys being on camera.
Oh man. Before going, I just want to ask you one simple question, Rodgon. An advice to all those people who actually want to make it big in animation industry or VFX or something like that. One advice.
Oh, so some advice?
Yeah, please.
All right. So be versatile with your expectations. If you're going for animation and you don't get into animation, look at other things that you can actually go into that are going to be parallel paths to what the final goal is going to be for yourselves. Don't put yourselves in such a small circle that you're going to end up feeling completely disappointed if you don't end up in that field. Everything in the art world is incredibly competitive, and after a certain amount of skill, everybody's on the same playing field, right? That's not even that high of a level. So it's going to be a lot about how you present yourself, how you talk to people. So learn how to do public speaking, go out and communicate with human beings so you can be charming, so that you can charm your pans into anything you want instead of having to always battle with artists through just your art alone. It's a losing battle for most artists. There's way too many artists that want to do the same job. So companies are always just going to be going with the people that are most easygoing, the people that are fastest, the people that are quickest, the people that are more profitable for them. So if you're going for those sort of jobs, keep that in mind, but don't cheapen yourself. Don't sell your artwork for free or even like worth less than you need to make a living. But enjoy the journey. It's a struggle, but I'd rather be struggling doing this than struggling typing on a computer on a desk being a lawyer or some bullshit.
And one advice from me, don't get angry if someone throws your books in the trash.
That's a good one too.
Oh man, it's been lovely interacting with you and knowing you, bro. And lots of love from India, man. Lots and lots of love.
Thank you so much. I appreciate the time. Thank you for having me. If you guys want to buy my books, go to my pages.
Link is in the description. Which I'll be definitely mentioning, bro. Don't worry about it. I'll be mentioning all your social media links, all your social media handles. The Instagram handle, which has 121,000 followers. Yeah, so I will pray to God soon it becomes 200k, because we just want to see you keep growing, bro. Yeah.
I plan on not stopping there, man. I'm just gonna.
You better not.
I'm gonna find all the secrets and I'm gonna share them with everybody.
So thank you so much, Rodgon. It's been an honor to have you on the show, and looking forward to seeing your growth, man. And thank you so much. And this is a namaste from India, man. A lovely, sweet, cute namaste from you, from India to you. And yes, thank you, man. It's been an honor being with you, man. Thank you so much.
Absolute pleasure.
So guys, this was Rodgon the artist, an illustrator, an animator, who started learning it just for experimenting it, and ended up becoming a really amazing, talented, hardworking and famous animator as well as an illustrator. I'm sure you must have liked this particular podcast. So don't forget to give it a big fat thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe the channel. Don't forget to share this podcast. And please do follow Rodgon the artist on all his social media links, which I'll be mentioning below in the description. And I'll meet you guys in yet another such amazing and informative podcast.